Hello, everybody. Germ here, and I am super mentally diseased. Today, I am joined by a couple of awesome members of the LGBTQ community that are going to celebrate Pride with me because it's Pride Month, and we're really excited about it. So first, we have excultbaby, host of the YouTube channel excultbaby. You're probably familiar with her, and if you're not, I have a link to her channel in the description below. Be sure to check it out later. excultbaby, how are you doing today?
I am doing so fabulously. Thank you for having me on, Germ. This is a dream.
Thank you so much for coming on. And then we have Piotr, who we are going to call Peter because I'm very American. And he doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he draws really pretty pictures. And he's recently a bit of a reality TV show star, yeah?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. What was the show that you were on?
It was First Dates, and I basically went on a blind date, and it was televised in front of the whole nation. So, yeah, that was a bit nerve-wracking too. But no, I'm not famous or anything. Unfortunately, my 5 minutes lasted exactly that much. 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, how did it go? I tried finding it because I'm crazy stalkery, but I
don't think it's actually not that easy to find it if you're not in Ireland. But yeah, I mean, the guy that I met on the date was nice, but unfortunately, it just didn't go anywhere. But the experience of it was brilliant. I mean, you know, just being on TV and you know, you see everything that goes behind the scenes, and you get pretty pictures taken, and you know, it was very, very nice experience overall. And the show is quite popular here, so you know, it was just fun, and you know, a lot of people were like, you know, excited for the episode to air and all that. So we had a little party at work and everything. So yeah, it was great. It was really good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. I have a TV show star on my channel, you guys. This is pretty cool.
A real celebrity.
All right, so let's talk about Pride, everybody. What are you doing this year? Do you have any plans?
I plan on going. It's not this month. It's actually in August. But in my hometown, they're having a Pride parade. They do every year, and I fully intend to go to that. But yeah, that's actually in August. For some reason, they don't actually have it in Pride Month. I know, it's weird.
August.
But yeah, I'm totally planning on going to that. That'll be fun. I already got the time off of work for it. I'm so hyped about it.
Awesome.
Yes, and for me, I actually I'm gonna go to Dublin Pride, which takes place in 2 weeks, I think. And then after that, there's also Belfast Pride, which, funny enough, also takes place in August. And I think like I think it depends. I think prides kind of happen over those 3 months mainly. But then I also heard recently that there's prides happening in like September and October. So I think, you know, we're basically gonna make the whole year Pride.
Yeah. The whole year is going to be gay. It's fine.
Exactly.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
And then, Pride is, go ahead.
Sorry, and then just the third Pride I'm actually going to go to is going to be where I live, which is in Derry, which is in Northern Ireland. And I think out of all those, Belfast and Derry is probably the most important because we still don't have gay marriage in Northern Ireland. So I'm kind of, you know, looking forward to kind of fighting for it a bit.
Wow. So what is the kind of social climate in Ireland as far as gay people go? So you can't get married. That's already bad.
Yeah. I suppose it's tough to just kind of say it in general terms, because on one side you have the Republic of Ireland, which is in the south of the island, and gay marriage is legalized there. And I mean, the general sort of acceptance for gay people is sort of widespread. Everybody's pretty much it's pretty much normal at this stage, whereas in Northern Ireland it's kind of not like that. It's kind of like almost the opposite. Don't get me wrong, I mean, we don't get a lot of persecution here, but again, there's like the political climate here is very anti-gay, and I mean, especially anti-gay marriage, and there's definitely a lot of work to be done here to ever even think about achieving it.
Yeah, wow. How do you feel about like going out in public with a boyfriend or something? Are you kind of shy of, holding hands? Do you feel like you got to watch your back, or?
No, I don't think that would ever be the case. I mean, I've never had a boyfriend in my life, so I don't really know what it's like. But yeah, I know it's kind of weird, and I'm nearly 30 as well. It's like, what's wrong with me? But
No,
no,
a lot of good that TV show did you?
Well, exactly. I was kind of hoping maybe people will watch it and be like lining up at my apartment, but no, nobody came. So, but yeah, no, I don't think it would be that bad. I think in general, people sort of, I'd say ordinary people would be more open to it than people like people in power. So I wouldn't necessarily feel the need to hide the fact that I'm gay. But certainly, it's not all butterfly and roses here either.
Oh, okay. Well, my Pride is this weekend. I think there's a lot of prides happening this weekend.
I'd say,
yeah, I'm probably gonna go to the festival, watch the parade, and do that whole thing. I haven't been in a few years. I don't go all that often. But I feel like this year it's kind of an important Pride this year because it's I don't know if you guys know this, but it's the 50-year anniversary since Stonewall this year, which is what kicked all of it off. And a lot has changed in 50 years for gay people. I mean, a lot's changed just since I came out, but just in the last 3 years, especially in America, things have changed a lot. But a lot of things have not changed. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. Why Pride is still important to celebrate, and I lost my thought. Why Pride is still important to celebrate, and talk about a lot of the things that come up every time Pride starts. Where is my straight Pride parade, and why don't you already have what you wanted? Why are we still celebrating this? So, why do you guys think it's important to still have this month?
I can't stand the straight pride thing. It drives me crazy. Like, I'm sorry. Were you ever not allowed to get married? No. So shut the fuck up.
Absolutely.
It seems like it's pretty simple to me. Like I even when I didn't identify myself as a member of the LGBT community, even before then, even as a conservative Christian, I understood why Pride was a thing. I never asked, like, why isn't there a straight Pride, or why do they feel the need to celebrate? It's like probably because they were oppressed. I don't know how that needs any more explaining. And there are people, who, yeah, like you said, they say, oh, you guys already have what you wanted. You can already get married. It's a lot better for you now. It's not like people are out killing you. And it's like, no, there actually are people that are still out killing us. It's not widely socially acceptable, but it's still pretty prevalent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are up against us systematically still. It's a lot harder to adopt if you're a gay, things like that. There's the odds are still stacked against us. And we're just celebrating the fact that for the most part, we can be ourselves. And there are some rules in place, at least, that keep us from being discriminated against, that keep us from, being hurt or killed. And at the same time, Pride kind of raises awareness for the issues that we still have to face, So, yeah, that's my take.
Yeah. There's a lot that people kind of forget. At least even in America, especially as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, a lot of people don't understand how much it would mean to me to be able to donate blood. Like, I really want to be able to donate blood, and I still can't do that. So there's things like that. You still have to. It is so much better right now, but there are ways that we are still being oppressed here. I think we got Peter putting some headphones on.
Yeah, bear with me 1 second.
So
never,
I kind of wanted to
sorry.
pick your brain, Excult Baby, a little bit because you're kind of big and getting big. You're growing a lot in the atheist community, which is focusing a lot on the NIFB church and what they're doing right now. Can you kind of give us an update on what's going on there?
So a lot of YouTubers in the atheist community have been working to try to get the INFB and its pastors deplatformed, not exactly to promote censorship, but they are, because they use so much hate speech. They are very blatantly violating the terms of service on many different platforms, YouTube, PayPal, and we're basically just trying to get them shut down, so to make things more difficult for them in the ways that they are trying to promote their very bigoted, violent hate speech. And right now they're having this conference called Make America Straight Again, and they're having it in Orlando on the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting. So basically celebrating it. It's totally disgusting stuff, but basically what we've been doing in the YouTube atheist community is basically trying to kind of expose what it is that they believe and what they're preaching and how really bad it is, because not a lot of people know about them. Not a lot of people know about what it is they're preaching or what's so bad about it, because there are lots of churches that don't accept homosexuals, so what, but they are actually advocating for the government to line us all up and shoot us. So It's a little different, just a little bit. And we've been kind of just trying to work to expose and deplatform them in any way that we can through, like non-violent means, obviously, but we are trying to do our best to protest that.
Yeah, and it's I believe the conference is this weekend that they're happening, and there's some counter protests that are going up. But it is a little scary because these people are showing up armed, and they're pretty blatantly saying, they're flaunting Florida's "Make My Day" policy. So hopefully nothing happens. So I hope that everyone
they want it to get violent. They hope that it gets violent, so they can stand their ground and really just do everything that they've been saying they want to do to gay people, basically.
Yeah,
and if you
an excuse for them, basically.
If you want a deeper idea of what they're doing, Shannon Q made a really great video about this. It even has some clips of them talking on the podium and everything. So check out Shannon Q's channel for a more in-depth thing. And we've got Peter set back up with his headphones now. So let's ask.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Perfect.
So let's go back to that question for you. Why do you think that Pride is still important to celebrate and acknowledge?
Sure. Well, I think it would be good to maybe start with an example of, I mean, for me in particular, obviously living in this part of the world, sort of you kind of focus more on the news that are around you. And I mean, only recently we've had an incident in England where a lesbian couple was brutally beaten on the bus because a group of men came up to them and asked them to kiss, and they refused. So they beat them up. I mean, the photos of them were just heartbreaking, to be honest, because you kind of look at it and you realize, wow, this is happening at my doorstep almost, and could happen anywhere. I mean, even closer to home, last year when I was going to Pride, I colored my hair pink, and I was on the bus to Dublin, and a group of sort of teenagers called me a pink whore. So, as much as it didn't really affect me, there's a lot of people that would have affected really badly, and they would have, kind of felt like they couldn't be this sort of colorful, crazy person out to the world, And I think that's why, no matter what anybody says about Pride, whether it's a giant street party or whatever, the fact is when you go to Pride, you can be whoever you want to be, and you're accepted for it, and you're accepted with open arms, and generally, because you get assholes in any community, even the gay community, but I in general, when I go to Pride, I always get this feeling of like everybody's happy, everybody's just really be they're able to be themselves, and for me, just showing the world that we can do it, and no amount of hate will sort of prevent us from showing our true colors. That's what Pride for me is all about. Whether and again, like I said to you guys that in Dublin or in the Republic of Ireland, gay marriage is legalized, but I still think we have a reason to celebrate Pride, because we want to celebrate the fact that we can get married there, and also we want to stand in solidarity with other countries that do not have these freedoms. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's just and then the whole thing with the straight pride is just I can't get my head around it, how another human being can even come up with an idea like this. But definitely, I think it's very important to keep celebrating Pride.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that. I like your point there about how it's a place that you can go and you can finally be yourself, because a lot of people don't realize that when you're gay, that you spend so much of your life, even after, I mean, we all grew up in a cult, but even after I left the cult, I still feel like I need to monitor my actions. I still feel like I need to, behave a different sort of way depending on who I'm with. And that's what's so great about places like gay bars or the Pride festivals, because it's the one time that you can just be yourself. You don't have to hide from anybody. You don't have to act a certain way or, pretend that you're straight because you don't want to talk about it. You can just do whatever it is that you are. And that's a huge relief off of our backs that I think is really important to keep up.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to my first Pride parade last year, and it was so, like, I missed the entire parade. I literally missed the entire parade. But the after party type of stuff, it was still nice just to be in a place where I was just walking around with this big ass Pride flag wrapped around me like a cape. And everybody else was doing something similar, and even the people who weren't like, it was just like,
yeah,
I'm totally out, and I'm being loud about the fact that I'm out, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody here doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And for once, you don't have to feel like, oh my God, what will people say? Because you don't care. You just, you're there to be exactly who you are, and if it makes you feel any better, excultbaby, the first few prides that I've attended, I haven't seen the parade at all either. So I think it's just kind of like, you kind of go there and you get yourself ready for the parade, but it just sometimes happens that you miss it. But the fact is that this is what I like about prides now, is that it's called Pride Festival in a lot of places, because it's not just the parade, it's almost like this whole thing takes over, the whole city or the town, and it's really great because the whole place gets infected with that atmosphere. So I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that is awesome. So I kind of want to talk about that too, your first Pride. So it's, how long would you say after you left Jehovah's Witnesses? Because we're all Jehovah's Witnesses, in case anyone's watching that didn't gather that all already. How long after you left was it before you started to get into gay culture? Did you jump in right away, or did it take you a bit?
For me, I was kind of already in it before I left. That's kind of why I got kicked out. So I was already pretty into all that kind of stuff. I had already kind of gone through my identity crisis of being like, this is how I feel, but what's the word that describes that? I guess I was already fairly well immersed into gay culture. I guess I was looking at it from a distance without being like in it, but I had been seeing it for a long time. So pretty much as soon as I got, very shortly after I got disfellowshipped, I was out on Facebook. I was out to everybody. I bought myself some little pan pride earrings, which I have now lost, and I'm very sad that I lost them. I'll probably buy some new ones. I know. I'm always losing earrings. It's just the kind of person that I am. But I pretty much dove headfirst into it as soon as I was out. I experimented with the way that I dressed more. I don't know. I've been playing around with the concept of gender. I don't consider myself anything but cisgendered, but I've worn drag a couple times. It just feels so good to be free to play around with the way that I look however I want to, anytime that I want to, and nobody can really say anything. Well, at least nobody that I know now or hang out with now is going to say anything because they don't care. I pretty much dove headfirst into it as soon as I had the opportunity.
Well, that's awesome. How about you, Peter?
For me, it probably took a little bit longer. Having said that, I haven't really changed the way I act because I've always been kind of a bubbly and energetic person, so it didn't really change after I was disfellowshipped. But definitely in terms of like sort of getting used to the fact that I was out gay, it definitely took me a little longer. I kind of told my friends gradually. Mind you, I didn't have a lot of friends at the time because, as you guys probably can relate a bit, when you get disfellowshipped, you are literally left with nobody at that stage. But I was very lucky because I was in college at the time and I had a few friends in there, and my circle expanded then. But it basically gradually became sort of a norm. And I think my first Pride was actually in Belfast, and I went there with a boy that I was going out with at the time. And it wasn't probably the best experience I've ever had. But at the same time, I'm kind of grateful for any experience. You always kind of have to get just, whatever life's, whatever the experience is, you just learn from it and move on. But yeah, it wasn't sort of as for you, excultbaby, it wasn't as sort of head first. And it did take me a while to kind of, even fathom the fact that I could be running around with a pride flag at the parade, But once it happened, it's just like, now it's part of me, and I'm probably one of the most excited people about Pride that you will meet. So, it evolved eventually.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience to you, Peter. It took me a long time to get into the culture. I had a lot of, I think, Jehovah's Witnessy kind of views of what it was. I had completely different expectations of what it would be versus the reality of the situation. Did you have anything like that? Did you expect it to be something that it's not?
It's hard to say because I didn't even think about it. For me, it was such a stressful, negative experience coming out and being disfellowshipped that I kind of always focus on the aspect of just me being gay and the fact that I was doing something terrible and I will basically die because of it. And then I wasn't really looking outside at the sort of what gay culture really is and what do gay people do, where do they go. I kind of learned it as I was going ahead, and I started meeting more people, and they kind of broadened my horizons that way. But no, I actually have to say that was a bit different for me because I didn't know what to expect at all. It was just kind of like, I got this fellowship and then I was like, You see, the thing is as well, I thought I wanted to go back when I was disfellowshipped. So maybe that kind of changed it too. Because for me, I was like, I'm going to work on it and I'll get back. But then because I was very depressed at the time and I noticed that my depression was getting better as I was, away from the organization, I was like, maybe I shouldn't go back. Maybe I should, just keep going and explore this site. And then I did, and and here I am. So it was, obviously a good choice, I think. But yeah, it just kind of was very gradual for me. I kind of had to sort of test the waters first and learn about it as I was going, forward.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were still POMI, physically out, mentally in when you were kicked out.
Definitely.
For a while.
I still believed, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference in our experiences with Excult Babies. Because Excult Baby, did you leave? Were you already questioning the doctrine when you left?
Oh no, I was still 100% a believer when I left. I just thought that I was going to die in Armageddon. I was like, you know what? I was what people say that atheists are. I was just going to ignore the doctrine and enjoy my sin until I got punished. Because that's what people think. that was what I was planning to do. And I, like you, I also originally thought that I was going to go back. When I left, I was actually already in a polyamorous relationship with a trans guy and a girl. And
wow.
We broke up only a couple of months after I was disfellowshipped. But
wow.
But the thing is, I had told my mom, I was like, oh, I'll be back. I just have to break off this relationship. I know it'll end eventually, right? So, once that's over, I'll probably just be able to come back because, all of my ties to the world will be cut and it'll be fine. And I'll be able to fully give myself to Jehovah. And like the day after we broke up, I was like laying in bed thinking about it. And I was like, I have no desire to go back. None. I don't miss the meetings. I don't miss studying. I don't miss any of it. I don't really want to go back. And that was when I still wasn't questioning the doctrine. Don't get me wrong. I just decided I didn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness again, regardless.
Wow. So I guess the difference is just you were way more brazen than we were.
You
were ready for Armageddon. Let's live my life first.
I had already been depressed for so long. I was just like, screw it. I'm ready to die. Let me just enjoy my few years left on this earth then, and then I'll die. It's fine.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love that. I have a couple of questions from the chat that are popping in. And chat, thank you for coming on. And feel free to ask any questions you want. If you tag me at Mentally Diseased, it'll pop up highlighted for me, and I'll be sure to ask it. So Cass D, the non-apostate, my good friend, asked, where do your parents stand, and are they all still in?
My parents are at kind of a weird place where I'm like 100% sure if they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses, they would be completely accepting of me. But, I'm disfellowshipped, so they're going along with the disfellowshipping for the most part anyway. I mean, my dad is like a huge Trekkie. He's the one that made me a Trekkie. He is I remember one time I asked him, hey, I met this trans person and they asked me to call me by their chosen name. What should I do? I mean, I called them by the name they asked me to, but what should I have done? And he said, well, you call somebody the name they ask you to call them. It's just respectful. My parents have always been fairly accepting and respectful, but ultimately they're like, well, it's still a sin. So, So they're upholding the disfellowshipping. I still have a little bit of contact with my mom. Like, I can text her, and I've had conversations with her, but most of the time they're conversations that ended me like crying because she clearly is just, I'm not getting through to her at all. Or they're conversations that are just like about something, like something about like a doctor's appointment or something like that. But I don't have any real contact with them still.
Okay. What about you, Peter?
Yeah, I'm very similar. I actually haven't seen my parents in about a year and a half. I think. it might be that long. Basically, the situation is that my parents are still Jehovah's Witnesses. My sister Alex, hi Alex, by the way, she's watching definitely. My sister Alex isn't a Jehovah's Witness anymore, and my brother, he's 13, and there's 16 years of difference between us, but he's studying, and there's a chance he might get baptized, and he sort of, it's a tough one because we don't really know what's going to happen, but I try my best to make him think for himself and realize certain things by talking to him as much as I can. But he visits me quite often, and I suppose he's sort of like a link between me and my parents, because he's the reason why I would still talk to my mom. However, my mother never asks me how I'm doing, or if I'm all right, or if I'm doing okay financially or anything like that. It's I actually think the last time she texted me properly was to tell me that she got a bit of money somewhere. So it's not it's not a great relationship, unfortunately. However, it's not it's not, it's not an antagonizing relationship either. They don't sort of shun me as much as other witnesses would. So I suppose it could be worse, because they could say, we don't ever want to see you again. They never said that, and my mother even said to me that she will love me no matter what. But I guess the relationship is still strained and it's not perfect. But yeah, I guess the fact that my brother is there and he's kind of the sort of almost like a bridge, maybe, so that's a positive, I guess. But I wouldn't really be that close with my parents, no.
Yeah. I'm sure most people are already familiar with my stuff. My mom has left and my brother has left, and that's pretty much most of my family. My dad is still a witness, and he stopped shunning me when my mom did because he's a narcissist and could not handle her looking better than he did. And I wish that he would go back to shunning me. We had a family emergency last week that, and I generally ignore phone calls from him. I don't want to talk to him. But, family emergency, I had to do this. And, 2 hours on the phone with him talking about Satan and the demons and all of his narcissistic bullshit. Please go back to shunning me. Do I need to remind you of your own doctor? I don't want to talk to you. So we have another question from a person whose name I'm really going to butcher, and I am so sorry. Abrao Souza. Sorry. They ask if any of you guys had straight relationships before coming out. I guess excultbaby, you're pansexual, so it's not that big of a deal for you. But let's talk about
really
it.
Not for me.
What about you, Peter? Did you have any straight relationships?
Never. No, I was only interested in girls when I was in primary school, because I was coerced to give Valentine to one of the girls in the class, and that was about it. Ever since then, I kind of knew I was gay from very early age, but I was in denial. So it's a much bigger story, which we probably don't have time for. But I definitely was never in a relationship with a woman.
Okay. And the person whose name I just butchered says that I can call them Abraham. Thank you so much, Abraham. Great Dane asks, this is for excultbaby, what pronouns do you prefer?
I prefer, she, her pronouns. Feminine pronouns are fine. I guess that there's a word for it, but basically, people have accidentally referred to me with masculine pronouns, and when it happened, I was like, you know what? I guess I don't really care. I'm kind of there's a word for not really caring what gender people refer to you as, and I don't remember what it is, but that kind of describes me. But yeah, I do identify as female, so.
Okay. Let's ask you two, Peter. What are your pronouns?
I like when people refer to me as a unicorn.
Oh, that's really good.
No. I'm joking. No, I never really had any sort of doubts about, sexuality. One thing, but I feel quite comfortable with the, he, him, his. So yeah, I'm actually quite new to the whole pronoun thing, but I do try to be as respectful to people that, do have different pronouns and do they prefer being referred to as certain pronouns. So, but yeah, no, I'm just sort of the I suppose is it called cisgender, cis man? Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You can he, him, but you can call me whatever you want. I really don't care. Words really don't bother me that much. That's why my channel is called Mentally Diseased, because I think that words are meaningless. That's just me. Call me whatever you want. So
don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah, or late to the bar. Prostates with drinks.
Exactly.
Hey.
Okay, so let's see. So it can be kind of, we've talked a little bit about this, but it can be a huge culture shock to jump from, because Jehovah's Witnesses are really isolated. You're really cut off from the world, depending on a lot on your parents too. So I think it'd be good to kind of do a primer for people that are, still witnesses and looking to jump out and get into the gay culture. Maybe they've been out for a while and don't really know where to start with the literature. Oh, there's my JW speak coming up with, with the culture. Kind of talk about that, because it can be difficult and kind of shocking to go from one extreme to the next. So let's talk about your first expectations versus reality, your first experiences going into it. I know excultbaby's got no fucks to give whatsoever as far as that goes.
Nope.
But Peter, is there anything that you wish you knew when you got into the community that you know now?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's pretty simple. It's basically knowing that, my little childish kid brain will develop and change and realize certain things, including my sexuality, because they don't tell you this. And I think for me, the biggest problem with Jehovah's Witnesses is that they, as a kid, if you hear a story of a paradise earth where you can pet tigers and have a house built out of wood and you live in a big garden, I mean, yeah, I want to be there. It's that kind of thing, because it's a fantasy and they feed children with this sort of idea that, they have to be good, they have to pray, they have to study the Bible, and then they will be rewarded with this experience of living on paradise earth. But what they don't realize is that what sort of repercussions it brings when you actually do decide to leave, or you realize that this is not for you. And this is why I'm so against, I brought up I talked about my brother earlier, and, the fact that he is thinking about baptism, and he's 13. And I think, for me, the biggest thing was that I don't want him to get baptized until he's 18, because if he really feels that this is the way he wants to go with his life, that is absolutely fine. I mean, I can't literally force him not to do it, but I just know that between age of 13 and 18, your body changes so much, your mind changes so much, you learn so many things that it's just so important to realize this. And I think small children getting baptized is just not, and it's essentially the same thing like baptizing an infant, and Jehovah's Witnesses often criticize Catholics for doing that, but in a way they are almost doing the same thing. They are allowing teenagers to get baptized, and then you have this, onslaught of people getting disfellowshipped because, they didn't realize what sort of what sort of thing they're actually getting into. So I definitely feel like, from my own perspective, if I knew if I realized exactly sort of, where my mind was going to go and how I'm going to develop, I definitely wouldn't have got baptized. That's for sure. But yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, well, and that's a good thing to talk about too, because and even with the Catholics, I feel like the baptism for Catholics, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's not as serious of an issue as it is with Jehovah's Witnesses. I feel like with a lot of other religions, baptism is very symbolic. Whereas with Jehovah's Witnesses, it's a lot more like, Scientology's Sea Org contract, where you're signing away the next 1,000 years of your life.
Yeah.
It's like signing an NDA agreement or something about something ridiculous. Yeah.
It's very hypocritical that Jehovah's Witnesses particularly pick on Catholics, because, like you said, it's the baptism of a baby is symbolic. I went to the baptism for my my niece. She's not my niece yet, but I'm engaged, so I'm going to marry into the family. She's essentially my niece. But I went to her baptism, and the people that were taking the pledge was not the baby. It was the adults in her life who were going to raise her to love God. That was what they were promising via her baptism. And obviously the baby is not going to be held to any of the promises made at that baptism. Whereas with the Jehovah's Witness baptism, and of course they talk about, an infant baptism like it is the same thing as a Jehovah's Witness baptism, but it's absolutely not, because the Jehovah's Witness baptism is a binding contract you make as a 9-year-old that you're going to be held to for the rest of your life, and that will affect the course of your life. And it's just ludicrous that anybody under the age of 18 is making these decisions and is being held to them for the rest of their life. Like, can you imagine getting baptized as a 9-year-old, getting disfellowshipped as an 18-year-old, and just being shunned until you're 64 or whatever? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue it even needs to go up to the age of 21. I am so different now than I was when I was 18. You can't ask. It's like asking someone, when they're 10 years old, they're pressuring you to get baptized. It's like asking them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you cannot change your answer. Whatever you say right now is it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's just insane. I was having this discussion with my mother the other day. I didn't use the word bullied. I said pressured and coerced into baptism. But she was like, well, you were well informed about what the consequences would be, blah, blah, blah. We'll agree to disagree about you being bullied into baptism. Like, first of all, I didn't say that I was being bullied into baptism.
Well, and who is she to say?
Yeah. But when people go up to you and they're like, so when are you getting baptized? Not are you getting baptized? Are you thinking about getting baptized? But when are you getting baptized? Or are you baptized? How long have you been baptized? Because they assume that's what you want to do if you haven't done it already.
Yeah. And I'm one that was not ever baptized. I took it's more in thanks to my mom, because she took it really seriously, and I was saying like, oh, I'll do it. And she was like, no, you cannot do this till you're older. You don't know what you're getting into. You need to make sure this is right. And thank God for that.
Good for your mom.
She is so great. I just love my mom. But my life,
like a great woman.
my life was hell during the teenage years because I was not baptized. People stopped talking to me, and any conversation I had was very pointed. It was very like, why aren't you baptized yet? You need to make the truth your own. This, that, it was just, I was bad association just on the fact that I was not baptized yet. It didn't matter how much I went out in field service. It didn't matter how my talks were, so anyone that says that we don't make you get baptized, it's all it's all on you, it's just a complete lie. They definitely pressure you a lot to do it. I mean, I was facing suicidal thoughts over it. It's just crazy. I have a question relating to this from Cassidy again. She's asking, when did you all get baptized and were you born in?
I got baptized at 15, but I had been getting pressure to get baptized since I was probably 11 or 12. And 15 was putting it off. And that still ended up being too early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was baptized, if I remember right, because forgive me, like I might be lying to you, hopefully not, but I think it was 2014, so I was 14. Um, so yeah, we weren't born into the religion. My parents were converted, and we literally got baptized a year after my parents. Yeah, but I was 14. It was a very young age.
Oh, Jeremy, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't
Oops.
hear you, Jared.
Sorry. Can you hear me? I
Yes,
forgot where my
yeah.
toggle was. Okay. Gene Walker asks, and I love this question because I was going to tackle it anyway. What do you think of the term GRSM instead of LGBTQA+++? And if you're unfamiliar, LG or GRSM stands for gender related sexual minorities or gender
No, it's
romantic.
gender, romantic, and sexual minorities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I've heard the term before. I like it. I think that it's concise, and I think the only problem that I have with it is that I feel, because there are people who are like, oh well, pedophiles might as well be part of the LGBTQ or whatever, because it's such a, you can say a sexual minority. Well, if you're an asshole, you can say that applies to pedophiles, but obviously that's not true, because what we're talking about are consensual relationships.
Exactly. Yes.
Not stuff like that. But I like the term because, like I said, it's much more concise, and it also covers everybody. So it's a lot harder to gatekeep. Like when people say, "Oh, you're asexual, you're not a part of this community. This is about blah 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 blah." It's a sexual minority. Asexual would fall under sexual minority. It's a lot harder to gatekeep when you're using something that's more of like a blanket term. So I like it.
Yeah. What do you think, Peter?
I never heard it before, actually.
Oh.
It's the first time ever for me.
Happy to educate.
Yeah, thank you. Every day is a school day. I think I like it. I mean, my first reaction was that it's very inclusive, a lot more inclusive than saying LGBTQ plus. We're gonna run out of letters eventually if we keep adding to that term. But I do like it. I think I could get behind it.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm totally behind it. I think that the acronym is getting a little bit out of hand. It's hard for
Yes.
it's hard for me to remember everything, and I'm part of the community. I can't imagine how it is for straight people. So
Yeah.
I like GRSM a lot.
But then the only thing I was thinking is that the whole thing about adding letters to it. I think what we need to remember is that even if we just say LGBT, um, I think the essence of this whole community is the fact that we just don't judge anybody for who they are, and everybody can be part of it. Like I have a lot of straight friends who are basically allies, and I would gladly be able to say that they are part of my community, which is, includes all sorts of people. And, I really hope that one day we'll live in a world where we don't need acronyms like these, because it'll just be like,
Yeah.
people, basically. I know it's probably a pipe dream, but but I just hope,
Yeah, I totally agree. I was talking to somebody the other day, and he always says stuff like this, but he was like, people should just, keep their sexualities to themselves. Why do we need the alphabet soup? I don't need to know about it. I don't care. What you do in the privacy of your bedroom isn't none of my business. And I'm like, that's fine. And that's also totally true. It really shouldn't matter. The fact is, we live in a society where it does. So right now we're going to keep the alphabet soup. We're going to keep pride because we need it. I would like to live in a society where everybody thinks the way that you do, and you're like, you know what? I don't really care what you do. It's fine. You can keep it to yourself because I don't need to hear about it, and I don't care one way or the other. That would be great, but that's not what we live in right now.
Yeah, not the reality at the minute.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So there's before we move on to the next thing, I want to know if you have any embarrassing stories of your first ventures into the gay world or the dating scene or, you know, anything that kind of gave yourself away as the newbie that you are?
Oh, I literally jumped from the relationship that I was in when I left Jehovah's Witnesses to the relationship that I'm still currently in. So I did not have that experience, fortunately. And my first date with my fiance went really, really well. So yeah, I don't actually have any embarrassing stories in that regard, unfortunately.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
What about you, Peter?
Me, there's probably loads of embarrassing stories, but I just, I don't want to sound like an absolute whore, but I've been, on a lot of dates.
Hey, no judgment. No judgment.
Thank you. But I can't really think of anything specific that I could say. But in general, I think, I touched on it a little briefly in the beginning that I was kind of being introduced to this whole gay culture thing gradually, and it did take me a while to get used to it. So I suppose there were maybe at certain times there were embarrassing things happening to me when I was meeting guys, but you kind of just you take it as an experience, you kind of laugh it off and move on. Like I wouldn't really necessarily feel like it was something to be ashamed of, because it's you kind of have to explore these things, and things happen. And I know I'm being a bit vague, but I genuinely, there's just we could literally be here for another 3 hours, and I could talk to you about my dating / romance / sex life. So just in general, definitely a lot of embarrassing things, but I'm all better for it.
Come on, Germ. I'm sure you have an embarrassing good story.
Exactly. Tell us.
Okay, I guess I will. I have no choice. So let's see. Embarrassing story. All right. I didn't really understand a lot of the gay slang when I first came out. I just did not.
Okay.
I didn't know what a lot of the like code words were. There's a lot of code words.
There is,
and
there really are, yeah.
Yeah, this one was before like Netflix and chill was a thing, but it was kind of along the same lines. Like I was talking to somebody, and like this was when Lost was on air. You remember the show Lost?
Yeah, of course.
So I was like fanboying about the show. I love Lost, la da 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 da, and it was like I thought he said, "Well, let's hang out." And I was like, okay, let's hang out and watch Lost. This will be great. And I'm thinking that we're really going to have just like a hang out and watch Lost thing. That's what I thought we were going to do. And, he came over, he was so awkward the whole time. And he's like texting on his phone and like kind of treating me like I'm an idiot. And then he just like got up and left without a word. And
wow.
I was so embarrassed. I was so humiliated. And it probably wasn't even till like a week after that I was complaining to a friend, and they're like, well, he said hang out. That means he wanted to bang. What are you doing putting Lost on? So,
obviously.
My bad. I didn't know. I just wanted to watch a TV show.
Oh, somebody just asked a question in the chat that I was actually going to bring up.
Okay. So, bring it up.
Shirley Sheldon said, did any of you fancy the brothers and sisters but couldn't do anything because of the JW rules? I do have a story with this.
That's a great question. Go on.
I do have a story with this one.
Cool.
It was, I don't remember if this was after I got, was it? Okay. I don't think that I realized that I was, that I had any same-sex attraction until after I was baptized. So, or at least I was ignoring it. I wasn't really confronting it until after I was baptized. So I had this best friend, and she was really pretty. She had long curly hair and a beautiful singing voice, and she was just the sweetest, funniest, quirkiest person. I adored her. And I also had a huge crush on her. It was also kind of weird because my sister and I are only like a year apart, so we have all the same friends. So it's like I have a crush on my best friend, but it's also my sister's best friend, which made it slightly weird. But one time we were alone together because she had stayed the night or something. We had a lot of moments that made me go like, well, that could have ended very differently. But one in particular I remember is that we were talking about boys and dating and how we were, because we were teenagers, how teenage Jehovah's Witnesses are, because, in order to have sex, you have to get married. So you're thinking about it before you even can get married. But she was talking about how she wondered what kissing would be like, and how she hoped she wouldn't be bad at it, and how she kind of wished that she could just practice. And I was like, haha, yeah, me too. And we were sitting together alone in a car, and my mom was driving, but she was out of the car for some reason. And there was just like this, I don't remember how long the silence was after that, but it felt like an eternity before my mom got back in the car, was just like, okay, everybody ready to go? We're just like, yeah. But that was a really long, tense moment of like,
wow.
Are we supposed to kiss now? Is that what's going to happen? And then it was like, okay, moment's over. Whew. Okay, I got through that. Nothing gay happened.
That is a great story. Well,
wow.
What have you got for us, Peter?
Wow, where do I start?
More than one, you guys.
There's been just so many guys that I fancied when I was in the religion. Obviously, as I mentioned before, I was in a big denial, so I wasn't fully like, yeah, I'm gay. I always kind of used to say that I just have this really strong desire of being friends with them. But it wasn't
that. Was me too. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I felt that way with girls. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it just kind of, you kind of feel, because I think it's to do with the fact that you're kind of trying to justify your feelings, and you're like, well, no, I'm not sexually attracted to them. I just really want to be friends with them. But the truth is, I actually really, really, really fancied them. Like, I found them attractive. There wasn't really any situations that I was in, like excultbaby had, but there was definitely a few guys that I used to dream about, and I wouldn't tell anybody ever, but I would just be like, oh, he's so great and he's so funny, and we were actually talking about it with my friends the other day, and yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to Kaylee and Patrick, because they will kill me if I don't. But yeah, we were chatting with them, and I was saying to them, we have a lot of sort of common ex-friends that we had while being in the organization, and I was telling them that, oh, this guy, I thought he was so funny, but I actually really, really found him attractive. And yeah, it was probably a sign that I completely ignored, which was, a shame, because who could know we could have been beautiful.
Yeah. And
but
so
it never happened.
So it sounds like neither of you ever actually acted on it.
No, never. I don't think so. No, never.
No. Yeah.
Not for me. No.
You can pretty much just copy paste everything that Peter just said and apply it to me.
To be honest with you, Jeremy, it was kind of scary watching your video, the one that you discussed your experience. I'm not saying we had exactly word for word the same thing, but just some parts I was like, oh my god, did you like get into my brain and copy me or something? Because this is weird. Yeah, are you me? But yeah, it's literally I think it's just it's not really a big surprise that these experiences are similar, because I guess we just go through the same things while dealing with this sort of stuff.
Yeah. So there's something else I kind of want to pick your brains on. A while back, there was a friend of mine was mentioning his frustration with, he had a gay XJW friend, and he was kind of frustrated because his gay XJW friend didn't really have any interest in getting into activism. He just wanted to pretend that it didn't exist. It didn't happen. And, he was telling me the story, and I immediately completely understood his friend's position, but I had a lot of difficulty articulating it. And when I was reaching out to people to do this video, I was kind of reminded again that there's not a lot of gay XJW activists. I mean, not to say that there's not gay XJWs. You know, there's whole Facebook groups full of them. They exist, but there's not a lot of them that are, you know, public facing, that are getting on YouTube or doing anything like that. So I kind of want to ask why you think that is, as opposed to a majority of straight people who tend to, you know, get disfellowshipped and hop right on YouTube right away. Why is it different for gay people?
Personally, I think that part of it is like when you leave a religion that hurt you, people can just say, "Oh, well, they're not accepting of, you know, gay people, so of course you don't like them, you know, of course you don't because XYZ happened to you," and I think that might be part of the reason. I think that another reason though is a lot of the gay XJWs kind of just, and I totally understand this, they probably kind of just want to live their lives in peace, stop being bothered with that whole experience. For a lot of them, it was a lot more traumatic than it might have been for a straight person getting out of that religion.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
So they might just, I totally understand the idea of just wanting to put all of that shit behind you and just move on with your life. I totally get that as a motivation for wanting to stay out of activism, because yeah, their experience with that religion may have been a lot more traumatic for them, that they just want to put it behind them. Completely
agree.
I can definitely relate to that as well, because this was probably the case with me. To be honest with you, I only really realized that there's a lot of things I haven't dealt with since being disfellowshipped until I started chatting to my two friends that left the organization recently, and I think it is a lot of the, you know, this whole, you kind of feel like this is the chapter that is closed and I want to move on, but I don't think it's very healthy, and I don't think a lot of people realize that it's very unhealthy to do that, because you should deal with your emotions and your trauma and your experiences. But I also think that this may be the case because when a straight person gets disfellowshipped, they go into the world that is generally accepting of them, whereas we are still, you know, we are gay, and we are not accepted in Jehovah's Witnesses circle. We get disfellowshipped and we go into the world that doesn't fully accept us either. So sometimes maybe that's why ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, that are gay tend to maybe, you know, kind of, you know, keep to themselves. You know, I wasn't even aware of ex-Jehovah's Witness community until I met my friends, and it's been probably 8 or 9 years now that I've been out of the religion. So that kind of shows you how, you know, you can easily miss it if you just kind of like want to go like, I don't want to think about it anymore. But it's more like, it's more about, you know, it's bad because you're burying those emotions rather than dealing with them, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree with pretty much everything you said. And there's kind of a saying that goes around in the gay community anyway, that, you know, when gay people reach their 20s, they finally get to act like they're 15. Because this is kind of like the thing for all gay people, is you don't really get to live your teenage years until once you come out, and once you're into the world, you finally get to explore the aspect of yourself and your sexuality and all of that everyone else has already dealt with in their teen years. So
I'm literally doing that right now. Like, to be completely honest, I do dress like a teenager, even though I'm approaching 21. I totally am aware that I do this. I totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's especially the case for gay XJWs. Like you know, I think that straight people, no offense to the straight people, I'm sure you have, you know, your own set of trauma and all of that, but you already know who you are when you get out, and the world is already set up for you. So, you know, I think that explains a lot why this particular friend isn't really getting into it, and why there's such a kind of void especially on YouTube, of gay XJWs. I was so excited to see you start getting into it, excultbaby. I was like, finally someone else is getting big. Oh, here's the great cat state.
Hi.
Hello, Kitty.
So you do like pussy?
Yes. It's been true all this time. I just love this cat. She's turning 18 this year.
Oh,
And,
wow.
Yeah, she was my only friend when I left Jehovah's Witnesses. She really wants to be
That
part
is
of this.
so cute.
She is also an ex-Jehovah's Witness.
She is. She's an honorary ex-Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. But do you have anything to say to those people that might be watching this for the first time? Have they been bottling it up for a little while and thinking about getting into activism?
Go for it. It's never going to be a bad thing to be an activist. Even if your voice is small and you don't have much of a platform, at least to start off with, you know, you're trying to make the world a better place. You're trying to raise awareness for something that is bad and try to change it for the better. There is no downside to that. I mean, obviously, it takes something of an emotional toll sometimes. When you really get into it, it takes up your energy, it takes up your time, it can take up your resources. But the benefits of doing so, I think, unless it's really just a huge strain on you, the benefits of trying to make things better are always going to be making the world better, even if it's a little bit, even if it's for a couple of people.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. I don't know that, you know, my channel or anything that I've said has ever drastically changed anyone's mind, but I know that even just living your life happily, I ran into a little while back, while I was at work, I ran into a girl that I knew was still a Jehovah's Witness, and I wasn't sure if she just didn't know that I was disfellowshipped or what, but she was being friendly to me and I was friendly to her. And I later found out that she was actually chemo at the time, and now she's out. And it was because she met me and saw me living my life happily, and that I was nice to her and just kind of being the example of, like, this is what your life could look like if you get out. Yeah. That was enough for her to decide, I'm going to get out. And you can do the same thing through, you know, just living a productive life as an ex-Jehovah's Witness. Really, you literally can change other people's minds just by living your life happily. That, in a way, is almost a form of activism, because just by not having a terrible, scummy life, you're completely proving Watchtower wrong.
Yes, yes, that is such an important point.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah, and even if it's just one video, if you just do like one video, it could help so many people. Like, I'd made a couple of videos, you know, whatever. When I came out with my experience, I got so many emails from so many people, and you know, it really does help just to share your own experience. You don't have to have anything smart to say. You don't have to have all the answers. You know, just sharing your experience can be really, really helpful to other people. And I think that this is Peter's first time kind of putting yourself out there publicly, right?
Yeah, it is. It's actually it's actually weird because, like, I mean, I don't really have any authority to comment on the level of activism, because I've kind of always been I've been pretty quiet about it, actually, which is a shame, I think. But I definitely, you know, especially recent events kind of opened my mind and my eyes to it a little bit more. And I'm not saying, you know, I don't think I would be a YouTube personality, but I definitely would love to do a little bit more with my art, for example. And I think this is a good point to maybe mention that, you know, activism takes many forms. And like excultbaby was saying, that, you know, some people can literally be activists just by being happy and living their lives. But if you can do more, do it. And, you know, there's different avenues. You can do videos. You can create pieces of art that support LGBT community. I mean, again, I'm really not the person really to talk, because I think I've only maybe done one piece of art that was specifically for Pride. But at the same time, I am proud of it, and I was very happy to get a good reaction from it. So, you know, and even little bits like this. And I think another point that excultbaby mentioned was that, you know, you just never know how many lives you will touch. And even if you just make a difference to one person, I think it's worth it. you know.
Absolutely. I love everything everyone has to say. We've been running on kind of a little bit long here, so I'm going to wrap it up with a pop
Cool.
quiz. Pop quiz
Oh.
for you
Woo!
guys. I hope you're excited. Let me get my screen share on here. Because there are a lot of pride flags. And we're going to go through some pride flags and
Oh my
no.
god.
see if you know what they are.
I'm totally gonna fail this. Can I
All of my
Google?
Tumblr training has been preparing me for this.
All right, so here is the first flag. We'll start off real easy for you.
That's the gay pride flag. Yay.
Yeah, it has to be because that's
Gay.
all the colors. Yeah, my monitor displays colors wrong, by the way, so I may not see it exactly as it should be, but
Okay. Fun fact, there used to be a pink stripe here. At the top, there was a pink stripe, and they took that out because the world was running out of pink dye, and it just never came back. So, FYI, the more you know.
FYI, every
Okay.
day's a school day.
All right, here is the next flag.
Ooh.
No idea.
That
I'm so sorry.
it's familiar. Oh my god,
And the
it's
worst
like
gay
right on the tip of
ever.
my tongue. Is it maybe agender? Is that what it
You
is?
got it. It is agender.
Woo!
Nicely done. I should
Nice.
a point here.
Hey, do I get a prize if I destroy this quiz?
Winners of
You get
Jeremy's
kisses.
Gay Pride contest win absolutely nothing.
Oh,
You get kisses.
okay.
Yeah, okay, so excultbaby with 1 point. 2 points. I guess we got to give you both for the other one. All right. Here is the next flag. Aha.
Oh, this one I don't know. I'm lost.
Is,
No, wait.
is, that
Wait.
is that a pride flag?
I might. God, I've seen it before, but I can't identify what that one is.
This is the aromantic flag.
Okay.
Mhm.
I knew it was
Wow.
A something. Gosh darn it.
Yeah. That's okay. I didn't know this one either. I'm not even going to pretend like I know more than you. Okay.
I think
Like
we
I
can.
said,
I
I've
think
been
we.
training. Like I said, I've been training with this on Tumblr for years.
Really?
Studying the pride flags. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
All right. Next flag.
I know that
Courage?
one. That one's asexual. I know that one.
Is it?
Yes, asexual. Nice work.
I actually feel like the worst homosexual in the world. I have never seen these flags before. This is crazy.
Well, I know
Wow.
ace people, so it helps that I know ace people. So
Yeah, that would do it. Okay.
Okay.
Next flag.
What?
that one's for bears, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
Bear
because it has a
Brotherhood.
paw. Okay.
Yeah.
I should know that. I mean,
Yeah, that one's gay specifically. Come on, Peter.
I like bears. I should know that.
Well, now you know
I mean,
what that flag means.
to be
Yeah.
fair, this one isn't used a whole lot, at least where I'm at. I almost never see this flag, but that paw print helps a lot.
Yes, it definitely did. If it had been just the colors, I definitely wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah. Okay, next flag.
Bisexual, obviously.
Nicely done. Bisexual it is. Okay, and the next flag.
Oh, is that some version of the
Trans? No?
flag? It's not the normal version of the trans flag, is it? Is it maybe like trans feminine or something like that?
It's similar. It's along the same lines ish, but without the change.
Okay.
Transvestite.
It's bigender.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was on the right track.
I'm having really a lot of fun holding gay classroom over here.
But it's good, you know, because we're learning.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. Next flag. I like this flag.
Ooh. First of all, that's a much more creative flag. The rest are just stripes. This one's got a triangle.
Yeah, I know. It
Is
looks
it?
like Czech Republic flag.
Is it? It has the same colors as the aromantic flag or the asexual flag. Is it maybe like gray asexual? Maybe.
Yes, nice.
Yes.
It's officially the demisexual flag.
I actually know demisexual people too, so haha.
Nicely done.
Wow.
That's why I know that one.
I am very impressed. Okay, let's see. Next
I am
flag.
very impressed.
Oh, what the fuck is that? Okay, I'm not even gonna pretend I've ever seen that flag before.
Any guesses?
What is that? Is that like a phoenix flag that you XJW gay maybe?
Oh, we should have our own
flag.
flag. Oh man, and you're an artist. Let's get together and make an XJW.
Definitely.
Flag.
I think I'm
on the
literally
flag has to be Watchtower blue. Okay.
Oh,
I'm literally
yes.
putting that down as an idea.
This is so good. I'm excited, you guys. We're going to popularize
Yeah.
this.
It's
Okay.
gotta have the little Watchtower symbol on there somewhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this flag is Feather Pride, which is it's drag queens. This is for the drag community.
No
And
wonder
Wow.
it's so much more intricate than any of the other flags.
Yeah.
I know they got to be so extra. Them drag queens, they can't just have a couple
True.
stripes. They got to have patterns and birds, and you know.
Mhm.
All right, next flag.
Okay, I definitely recognize this one too, but I'm just gonna I don't know it. I don't know what it is.
Any
I have
guesses,
no
Peter?
idea. No.
Because I definitely have seen it before.
I'm wondering if anyone in the chat is catching any of these. No, but
I
they're
mean, to
really
be honest
excited
with-
about the Watchtower flag.
To be honest with you, oh great. We will design it. But to be honest with you, it's great that excultbaby is here because she got like a lot of them, and if it was just me, I would just be like, next. Next. I just oh my god, I feel so ashamed.
No, that's okay. So this one is gender fluid.
Oh, I knew that one.
Gender fluid, yeah. Okay, next flag.
I've definitely seen this one before.
Looks like Irish flag, to be honest.
This is kind of a trick question, at least for me. And I might not understand the full difference, but this is, I'll just tell you, it's gender queer, which
Oh, right.
seems kind of the same as the last flag, but there's two different flags, so I'm clearly wrong here.
The thing is, with a lot of these different sexualities and identities and gender identities and things like that, is that there's very nuanced differences between them, which is why it's kind of up to each person to kind of pick their own label. Because like you can just say, oh, you like this person and this person, so you're this. But only the person that actually feels that attraction knows the nuances of it. Like I use pansexual instead of bisexual because to me, it is like a person's gender or sex has no bearing on my attraction to them at all.
Yeah.
So that's why I use pansexual instead of bisexual, even though they mean basically the same thing. There is a little bit of a nuance there. So
Yeah.
I guess I need to find research for myself what the nuance is there between this one and the last flag because I don't immediately understand. So I'm also a bad gay. Okay.
Thank God that there's another one of us.
All right, next flag.
Oh, that one's intersex. I know that one.
Nicely done. I really like that flag. I like the purple and yellow.
Yeah, as a graphic designer, I love it, but I
Yeah.
have no idea what it means.
Intersex is like the thing is the weird thing is it's actually not a gender identity. It actually has to do specifically with biology. Basically, biologically, that person can't really be assigned male or female based on the way that genders are assigned at birth. That person can't be categorically male or female. So
And you know what? The good thing about it is that, you know, thankfully I knew what intersex means because we had this conversation with my friend, very, very dear friend, who's a very big activist in the sort of LGBT community here. And yeah, but again, it's just the flag. I've never seen this before, ever.
That's okay. We're not here to judge you. We're here to educate you.
Thank God.
I'm here to educate both of you.
She sees right through my facade.
Pretend that you know more about this.
I know. She sees right through me. Okay, the next flag is really easy.
Are you playing with us?
Love.
Really?
Is it love?
No. Well, I guess sort of, but no.
I have no idea. I've never seen this one before.
Oh, yes. Okay, this one. I think this is the only one that I would have known right off the bat. Which I should not have just said because it's going to like make it sound like I'm like into this crazy scene that I'm not.
Oh, it's BDSM, isn't it?
It's leather.
Oh wow!
This is the leather flag. No. There are no leather straps to be found anywhere near here. I am not Kyle Curtis, where I can just whip one out from under my desk.
Called out.
But I have seen this flag a lot locally.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the leather flag. You will see this one paired up a lot with the Bear Brotherhood.
Interesting.
Okay, next flag.
I have seen this one before, but I don't remember. I don't know what it means. I have no idea.
I'm guessing it might be something to do with fighting because there's a.
It's aggressive AF.
There's an axe in it, and there's a triangle which is female, feminism maybe.
Yes, this is the flag for lesbian feminism.
First of all, great job figuring that out.
Nice work. That was very well done.
I am so proud of myself. I am actually going to scream.
You actually how wait. Triangles equal women? How did that? I've never even heard of this.
So this is a thing in now. This might not be everywhere, but as far as I remember, see, I'm Polish originally, so I'm not Irish or anything. But in Poland, I remember toilets used to be marked with a triangle down for female and a circle for male. So
thing.
Yeah, so it might be just like a specific maybe area or specific regions that have that symbology, but yeah, I just kind of I don't know.
Nice.
There you go. Wow. So what is my score? 1.
You're at 3 points.
Oh, great, brilliant.
What am I at?
excultbaby, you're at 7.
What?
Okay, next flag.
Oh, that's the lesbian flag.
Yes. Well, it's a specific sort of lesbian.
Oh, I guess it does look a little bit different. Is it femme lesbians?
Yeah, lipstick lesbian is the specific term. And it's often used, it often has like little lips on it too in the top left.
I've seen it with the lips. That's where I recognize it from. But this one doesn't have it, obviously. But I have seen the one with the lips.
Very nice.
That should have lips there.
All right.
I definitely recognize this one. But oh gosh.
I just want everyone to appreciate here how much gay people need to learn when they first go into the community. Yeah, we're supposed to learn all of this.
We've been gay all our lives and we didn't know this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like 9 years in and nothing. I actually have to like use my deduction skills to get one right.
Well, you did really good there. Do you guys give up?
For some reason, I'm thinking that it's gender fluid, but I know that we already did that one. So yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, this is another trick question one because it is very similar to gender fluid. It is non-binary.
Non-binary. I was on the right track. I give myself half a point for that.
Yeah, I'll give you half a point too.
Half a point.
Yeah, and it just goes to show how much nuance there is between all of these things that a lot of people.
I knew it was a gender flag. That much I knew.
Okay.
Oh, that's mine.
Yes.
Pansexual. Woo.
Pansexual. I'm gonna give Peter a point for that just because he didn't even get a chance to say anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
thank you. That's very nice. That's very Christian of you.
Oh, don't take me there. Don't group me with those.
Undeserved kindness on his part to give that one to you. Undeserved kindness.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I haven't heard that term in like
I know.
9 years.
I can't believe we ever heard that term and didn't think like, well, that's mean. I think
know,
that is kindness.
Yeah, you don't deserve that kindness, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Yeah. It's a good thing to say.
All right. Let's do the next one. We're almost done.
That one is polysexual.
Very good. Very good. Can you explain to us polysexual for all the straight people in the stream?
I cannot. I've learned the term at some point and I have forgotten what it means. But I know that pansexual, bisexual, polysexual, they're all in the group of like you're attracted to more than one gender. They're kind of all in that category. But
That's basically you got it. It's more than one gender, but not all genders. There's that nuance. Is not all of them.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they're a little bit picky about some things. Okay. Next flag.
Wow.
Ally. That's the ally flag.
Yes. Nicely done.
That's because there's an A in it.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen that one, but it was a pretty easy guess.
For me, I don't really like that the A is the rainbow. I feel like the rest should be the rainbow and the A should be black and white. I don't know.
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
I know.
I agree.
I think we're giving them too much credit, but all right.
Trans flag.
That's trans. Woo!
You both get a point. You get a point. You get a point. You both get a point.
Yay!
All right, and last flag.
That one, is that one like? Well, obviously it has something to do with gender.
Gender, yeah.
I would have guessed genderqueer, but I guess that's not it.
Yeah, there was gender fluid one already, so.
Okay, what's this one?
Okay, this one is. Sorry, I just popped up the wrong window. It is transgender and genderqueer.
Okay. So I was half right. I said genderqueer.
Oh my god! How did I not get that? I've seen the symbol before, and it is for transgender people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually really angry at myself for not getting that one.
That is okay. All right. Well, thank you for playing. We've got excultbaby as the winner with 13 points.
Woo!
And Peter with 5 points. But that's okay.
Well, to be fair, I actually did better than I thought I would. So
yeah, you did really well, especially deducing that one.
And you know what? Yeah. So did I, because I didn't think that I remembered any of those. Like I was totally joking about training for this moment, but apparently I did. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, nice. All right, so I guess we're going to close up here. Thank you both once again so much for coming on, and especially with how last minute this all was. We just kind of threw it together real fast, and you guys were totally open and made your schedules work, so I really appreciate that. And I would love to have you both on again sometime to talk about more gay issues or, more of whatever. If you would be open to it, that would be awesome.
100%.
Absolutely.
And before we end the stream, why don't you tell everybody where to find you and any shout outs you may have?
excultbaby is also my Twitter handle. It's also my channel name on YouTube. So find me either of the. I have other social media, but Twitter's the one I use the most. That's probably the best one to contact me at. My email address is excultbaby@gmail.com. So I have a Patreon now that I literally just launched. It's also excultbaby. So that's pretty much what I use for everything. If you want to find me on any social media, odds are it'll be under excultbaby. So there you go. Oh, and shout out to Alicia, who will be watching this later. She's another friend of mine who's pansexual and an XJW. So yeah, shout out to you, Alicia. I'm sure you're going to be watching this later and be like, yay, Rachel, thank you.
Brilliant. So I'm I would be Peter Pixel almost everywhere. So it's Twitter, Instagram. I think you can even find me on Facebook with Peter Pixel. So it's spelled Pitah Pixel. And yeah, my email is, if anybody wants to email me at all, it's hello@PeterPixel. I did buy the domain. And shout outs, I already probably did that throughout the stream, but I'll just summarize it. I want to give a shout out to my sister, Alex, who is the best sister ever. And she's also an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And then my two friends, Kaylee and Patrick, who are also watching, with who we got in touch with again, and then any other friend that tuned in, because I did send this link to a lot of people. So thank you for watching, and yeah, contact me and talk to me.
Yeah, he has great art. You should really check out his Instagram. I love his
Thank
art.
you.
I wish that he sold stickers, because I'm in the market for stickers for my scooter.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll send you some sticker, Jeremy.
Okay, that'd be fun.
Definitely.
All right. So thanks again to you both for coming on. Thank you for everyone for tuning in, and happy Pride, everybody. Take care.
Ooh, happy Pride.